Folks, let me, obviously this is Mike Shaw. Let me tell you quickly. It was less than 5 years ago, U.S. doctors told him that this man would never walk again. And he walked up on stage better than I did. So, just phenomenal. We're going to go through the accident. I know Mike's brought some slides, some videos, and we're going to go through that as we discuss the accident, his rehab, his spirit. It's a phenomenal message that he wants to get out to all of you, not only for athletes, but to business people and to everybody in general. Mike, first of all, let me just ask you one, if you can, in a nutshell, how is it that you are standing, walking, and sitting here today like this?
Wow, big question. First, thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here, and thank you all for being here too and supporting the UBC Okanagan Heat. It's incredible. So for me to be here today in the capacity that I am, there was a lot of luck. Most people who have spinal cord injuries, unfortunately, aren't as lucky as I am. I've had what most people call miraculous recovery from doctors once telling me that I would never walk again and potentially never use my arms or hands, which is really, that's heavy when you hear that. But I got lucky, but I worked really hard. I worked really, really hard to be here. So it was just over, well, 4 years and 3 months ago that the accident happened. So.
You know, I think you got video of the accident. We've got some slides as well. So you want to show the video? It may not look like much when you see a ski accident, and maybe Kelsey can certainly look at these things and wonder, but we know what happened. Do you want to roll that video and just give us an idea of what went wrong? This was in Colorado, December 16,
2013.
You got that date burned into your memory, yeah?
Oh yeah, a day I'll never forget.
Yeah.
So for me, what got me to this point, I started freestyle skiing at about the age of 16. And as soon as I found my sport, my passion, I was like, I'm hooked. This is it. I know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I'm going to be a pro skier. I found it. I was so lucky, especially at that age when, I had just gone through a growth spurt, so I was pretty awkward and gangly and anyway. But so I was like, it was cool. I found my place, and I got into sport for those reasons. It was like really uplifting and empowering. But in my later stages of my career, I was coaching skiing, and at this time I was in just outside of Denver, Colorado, coaching at a U.S. Grand Prix of free skiing. It was a World Cup contest, and I coached Canada's national development halfpipe ski team. So this took place on an afternoon training after the event. So we had just finished skiing halfpipe, and we were doing some like cool down fun laps to keep our ski legs fresh. And we'd found this feature that we could hit as a jump, and everything was going really smooth. We'd kind of picked up, like it was a bit of a weird terrain obstacle, but we'd hit it a few times. We built up a bit of a relationship, and I'd coach my athletes through their tricks, what they were gonna do, and then it was my turn to go, and I set off down the hill. Something didn't feel right, but I decided to carry on anyway, and this is what happened.
Oh!
Deep breaths, dude. Deep breaths, deep breaths, deep breaths.
Yo, somebody hike up there.
Deep breaths.
Just chill, Mike, just chill.
Deep breaths, dude.
I can't roll, I can't move.
Deep breaths, dude.
Oh my God.
Deep breaths.
Don't move.
No, I don't know if that's
Just
a good
one
idea.
sec. I'm going to grab you in C-spine, buddy.
Wow, how tough. I know you've seen that 1,000 times. You relive it probably daily in your mind. How tough is that to sit here and watch it again and again? How tough is that?
It's not easy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It sends shivers down my spine.
Every time.
Every time. I'm grateful I can feel them though.
Yeah.
It's
You knew at that very moment, because I know you told me when we were talking earlier, when you're lying in the snow there, you knew it was bad news right away.
before I'd even stopped falling, I was tumbling down the hill, and there was something that was very different about this crash. Like, that trick was not the most dangerous thing I've ever done on a pair of skis. In fact, like, it's something I'd done thousands of times. It was just at 720, 2 rotations, take off forwards, land forwards. And when I landed, I came out of it, and I landed on my feet, but I landed in some soft snow, which kind of stopped my skis in their tracks, pitched me forward onto my neck. My feet came up like a scorpion tail, all the pressure went to my neck, and it dislocated. Do you know like the Pez dispenser candy machines? Yeah, that's me. Actually, I have my head on top. But I bent my head so far back that my neck dislocated. I fractured C6, but the worst part was the break at C4-5, and I felt a brief but sharp pain in my neck, and then nothing. And I couldn't get up, and I couldn't self-erect after. Everyone tries to, even if you fall down in the grocery store, you're gonna try to get back up, right? Everybody's resilient. But for me, it was like this crash I couldn't get back up from, and I slid to a stop face down in the snow, and there was no question. It was like, game over. My biggest fear came true. And probably more importantly, my mom's biggest fear came true. My mom's here in the audience. Say hi. And my dad's, I should say. But my dad was a little more gung-ho about the freestyle skiing. My mom was like, be careful. Yeah. But,
So right away, so take us through now, because you knew right away you're off to the hospital. You get to the hospital, and the doctors do the eval on you. What do they tell you? Because I know you heard the bad news, doctor to your face. And
yeah, I'll give you the Coles note. From the point of like impact and understanding I'd crash and everything in my life was going to be different from that point on. It was like, okay, get off the snow. My friends helped me. My athletes came to my side at this point, a little bit of a role reversal there. I was grateful that I was on the ground and not one of them in that situation, in fact. But they helped me get off the snow and then into a helicopter where they flew me to Denver. And I had 2 titanium rods and 10 screws surgically installed in my neck. They're still there. It's a bit of a stiff neck. But it was a bad joke, I know.
it's a little stiff.
This is where I say I got lucky, because I was in surgery like 8.5 hours later. It was it might have been a blessing in disguise that I was in the United States. Who knows? The Flight for Life team, everybody in Denver at St. Anthony's Hospital took really good care of me, and they ended up, you can see they put in the titanium rods, but they cut off all the bone from behind my spinal cord so my spinal cord could swell without being impinged, and that was literally my only hope in healing. Like they said, I had to talk to my surgeon. I had to look him like square in the eye and say, like, what do I do here? Because you're the expert. And he said, do the surgery. If you don't, you won't walk again ever. Like, you won't have a chance. Your arms aren't even moving right now. So I was like, okay, this is probably just something I should do. But it was really serious.
Go ahead.
Obviously, they had some pretty strong drugs in the hospital. But I'm smiling, but it was not all sunshine and rainbows. I had to spend 3 months in hospital, which is a long time to spend inside, let alone inside a hospital. And there were a lot of challenges and things that I had to overcome. Rather than describe what that was all about for you, I have another video. Does everyone like videos? Yeah, right on. Hopefully you like this one too. It sort of documents the first 3 months that I was in GF Strong in the Rehabilitation Center in Vancouver.
premier athlete in his prime, young, ready to take on the world, maybe even go to the Olympics one day himself. All that, as we know, changed. How frustrating, how mentally grueling did you ever want to give up during those early weeks and say, I'm an athlete, now I have to learn how to walk?
Oh man, yeah. Like, it felt like my identity had not just taken, like ripped from me. The rug was pulled out from underneath my feet, and I was like, what am I left with? It was devastating. I realized that I was left with some pretty important stuff that we all have, like our core values, integrity, like things like family, a really bad sense of humor, that kind of stuff. Like, I still had some of those same things that I had before, but one of the big labels or titles that I identified with the most was taken from me. But I did still have something that was really important that I learned from athletics, and that was the athlete mindset. And the way I approached my recovery, like I'll remember there was this day in physiotherapy training where I was just trying to get up so I could start kneeling. So they taught me to roll over from my back to my front on a bed, and that took a while. And then you get your elbows wedged up underneath you, and then you push back up onto your knees and try to just get up on your hands and knees. And then they put a block in front of you and try to get up so you're actually upright on your knees so you can start practicing just engaging your hip muscles, because that's an important part of standing. And I tried and I tried and I tried, and I like failed and I failed and I failed. And it was, I remember my physio said on the last try, he's like, it's okay, Mike, if you can't do it, you're doing so well. And what do you think was the only word I heard in that sentence? Can't. Yeah. And I was like, no, I can do this. I've got to, like at that point I had moved, like my mindset was like, anything is possible. I'll be prepared if this is it, but anything is possible. And I was like, I think I can. And I pushed as hard as I could. And I got up on that block and I stood up there and I was like, and then I tumbled back and I was in my neck collar and I was like, oh God, I went down on the bed. My physio, I don't know if you noticed, he's like 6'8", thank goodness, he caught me. And, but at that point I realized, and it's like everything I'd learned in sport, that like whatever obstacle or challenge that was in my way, the failures, I'm gonna fail forward and I'm gonna keep moving. And then fortunately, I had this balance of like hope and trust that things were gonna be okay, the resilience to pick myself up, and then some really good fortune that physically I was healing. So as I wanted to progress, my body was also progressing with me, which is, like I say, miraculous. Like I was so lucky.
Alana's here giving us the 5-minute warning, because I know there's a special message that we want to, you in particular, obviously here, want to get out to everybody. And we have a crowd based on athletes in this room, but business people, ladies and men, et cetera, and people of all walks. Your message is right across the board. You don't have to be an athlete, but it's kind of that athlete mentality that we talk about. Don't give up, no matter what. Let's go through that a little bit, because your message is strong.
Thanks. So after I got out of hospital, 2 weeks later, I got cleared by my doctor. At least, again, that's what I told my mom and dad. I was like, you can go sit skiing. And so they just said, whatever you do, don't risk like jarring your neck. And I was like, oh yeah, sit ski, that's fine. Anyway, I went to Revelstoke and went and got in a sit ski, which was pretty incredible. But I was doing an adapted sport, which this was the first time that I truly understood the power of sport, because to me at this point it was more powerful than it was as an able-bodied human. We take a lot of things for granted in our day-to-day lives, like, for instance, brushing your teeth. Most people don't think about that a whole lot. The first time I did it after my accident, I cried. I was so happy. Getting in a sit ski was monumentous, like so incredible. But being able to be in the mountains with friends and stuff like that and do it, it was truly like embodied the power of sport and what it could do to lift you up. And if you ever get a chance to try an adaptive sport, it's just like regular sport and just as much fun. If you ever get to be the person helping the person do the adaptive sport, that is also really rewarding. But I didn't want to stay in a sit ski because I was getting better. These were starting to work. So I ended up achieving a goal that I'd set before I ever had my accident. And this is one I'm really grateful to share with you. When I was laying in the hospital bed, I visualized myself skiing powder. My first turn was nerve-wracking, but once I'd made 1 or 2 or 3 turns, those nerves went
just to pure excitement. I brought my two friends, Miles Ricketts and Ashlyn Marie Tipper, with me up in the heli.
Seeing that after the accident and share that with him was, you can't put that to words.
I've been thinking about heli skiing since I owned my first pair of skis and knew what a helicopter was. It's been a goal of mine for a really, really long time.
That is the best thing.
It would have been an achievement whether or not I'd had my injury or not. And thankfully, that's something I've been able to accomplish.
Wow. Two things come to my mind. One, the smile on your face from that was probably even better than the one on the drugs in the hospital.
Yeah, right.
Secondly, my question is, what did Mom think about you going heli skiing?
That one was a little more easy to break through her, because at that point it had been 2 years since the accident. And things were looking good, but I don't know. I'm sure it's still, I've given her a lot of gray hairs over the years. I owe her a lot of money in hair dye, for sure.
Yeah. As we look out over this crowd, your message, I think, comes very clear as we keep saying, resilience. Don't give up. What is it you want to put out to these people to say, given your experiences over the past less than 5 years?
Well, it's one of the reasons why we support athletics, right? It's because you learn so much as an athlete. I know the skill set that I had as an athlete were something that I was fortunate to have after suffering a really significant trauma or adversity. But like the whole fail forward, going from a fixed to a growth mindset, being open to the possibilities of what you can do. We all have it within us. Doesn't matter if you did sport or not. In fact, we all fail in life, but everyone has the capacity to fail forwards. But for me, like hope, trust, resilience, and certainly gratitude. I mean, I said it right when I came up here, because I'm really grateful to be here. There was a short time in my life where it looked like that wasn't gonna be possible. So I'm really grateful, and if you have that ideology or you're open to your potential, it's incredible what we can all achieve.
Can't say it any better than that. Yeah. Very cool. Look at this.
Thanks, Pat.
Look at that, huh? Let me just, as we walk off, let me just ask you one other quick thing. Still some lingering issues, right? The neck is stiff, you say. Hands?
Hands have some deficits for sure. The neurological picture didn't come back 100%. There are things like now I have like it's an invisible disability, which I'm grateful for, but has its own challenges that go along with that, because nobody sees anything different about me. Well, not, they might, but who knows? But, it's just not being able to feel my legs fully. Like I can tell them what to do, so I can send down messages really well, but I don't get a lot of feedback. I compare it to like how a blind person who doesn't have the full sense of sight, they would rely on touch or sound and memory to navigate and to do things. For me, I don't have the full sense of touch, so I rely a lot on being visual, and especially when it comes to something like skiing now, I have to anticipate all the bumps. It's a really cognitive process, but I don't know, it makes it equally rewarding in its own way, right?
Good. Thanks again, Mike.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you.